Alrighty, so you should have just finished up that Mythbusters video. So you should have considered these questions while watching the video. What was the question they were testing in that video of Mythbusters? They were testing, could they get a train car to explode if the temperatures reached high enough, if they built up enough pressure? How did they come up with their variables? Did you notice that before they did their experiment, they did some mini experiments to test how they were going to do their large experiment? So they did some background research, they did some background work, and they did some background experimentation to see how to perform their actual experiment. What were their variables? So their variables, their X and Y, they were changing the temperature of the train car. So the independent variable, they were changing the temperature. And the dependent variable, they were measuring if it imploded. They were measuring the pressure of implosion. Some constants. The train car was a constant. The sun was a constant. There was a ton of constants. And then what was their claim? I bet you can assume their final claim. They claimed that it was going to implode, but unfortunately it didn't work, which is sad. It would have been really cool to see. So that's just how we apply independent and dependent variable to other real life situations. So our last bit of notes today, looking at a hypothesis. A hypothesis is a suggested answer to a defined scientific question. It's a possible explanation of an event that is to be tested. You should be familiar with hypotheses, as we've written them a lot in chemistry. Actually, I am going to add on to our hypothesis format a little bit here. So our format is going to be if, then, because. So we're going to now have our hypotheses in an if, then, because format. So if this happens, then if I do this, then this will happen because of this reason. This is going to help us a lot with our CER as we move forward. You have to have a reasoning to why you think what you think. So let's do a little practice. Example, will dogs howl if they're lonely? So go ahead and write a practice hypothesis for that. It might look something like, if dogs are lonely, then they will howl because they want other dogs to know they're there. So our independent variable is again going to be the dog. Our dependent variable is, are they howling, amount of howling. And our hypothesis, if one dog is lonely, then there will be a lot of howling because it wants friends. So we're going to be doing a lot of practice with hypotheses as we go throughout the year. I think that's the end of our notes. Oh, another one. Does toad pee give you warts? Identify your independent, your dependent, and write a hypothesis, please. Include your because. So our independent variable in this situation is the toad pee. We're changing the amounts of toad pee you get on your hands. We're measuring whether or not you get warts. And a possible hypothesis would be, if you put toad pee on your hand, then you will get warts, because toad pee is toxic to human skin. It's really not, I don't think. So we are going to be doing a graphing activity today. So in your Google Classroom, you have two documents there. The first, you actually have two separate assignments you need to complete today, so make sure you do both things. The first looks like this. It's just a graphing practice walkthrough. So you are going to be graphing using these data. All of the information for how to graph is right here. You have some options. One option is definitely preferred over the other. You can either draw this graph if you have graphing paper available to you, which I don't necessarily love the idea, as it's going to get pretty messy if you don't have graphing paper at home. What I'd prefer you to do is make these graphs in something like Excel or Google Sheets. Use this data to make your graphs online, and then import your graphs into some sort of Word document where you're going to be answering these questions about the graphs you made, and make sure those questions are in complete sentences. So that is your first activity for the day. That's what we're going to be doing in class. And then your homework is this SpongeBob worksheet. That is going to be listed under a separate document, so make sure you open that up separately. And you have some practice identifying control variables and conclusions. please spend extra time on this, as this is going to be graded for correctness. You will get points on this for whether or not it is correct, because I need to know that you can do this in order to succeed in the class. So again, this will be graded on correctness, so take your time completing this activity. I think that is all I have for you today. Let me look over my notes one more time. Yeah, so next time when we come back, we're going to be going over those graphing activities and then looking at graphing a little more and taking some more notes. Per usual, email me if you have any questions. Otherwise, have a great day. Thanks.